guys, we're back for another exciting episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play, and I am pumped for today's guest because we're going straight to the top of this company, and this is a company that's been around for a long time. It's got a name associated with it that is pretty much one of the biggest names in the history of the game of golf, Ben Hogan. So tonight we're talking Ben Hogan Golf. We're going to talk everything top to bottom. They've been in the news a lot lately. They got some new clubs coming out. They did produce a just ton of products. They have golf towels, they have merchandise, they've got golf bags, you name it. So and speaking of merchandise, I'm wearing a Ben Hogan shirt right now. You can't see that because it's actually on the collar in here, but I'm a member of the Top Button Club, so unfortunately you're not going to get to see the Ben Hogan logo, but it's there, I can assure you. Tonight, we're going to go straight to the top and talk to Scott White, who's got the easiest name to pronounce, and anybody that's familiar with the show knows that we've had some guests on this show that I can't even begin to pronounce their names. So I'm excited to, one, have a name that I can pronounce, and two, get to know more about Scott, more about the company. I can talk more about what they're doing and what they have going on, but I'm going to let him do that for a couple of minutes. So, Scott, welcome to the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play.
Hey, thanks, Ricky. It's great to be here.
So give us an overview, just a 10,000-foot view of what the company is and what you do as the president and CEO of this company.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of cut to the chase, it's a 65-year-old company. As you noted, it's got a long and distinguished history and heritage, and it's been through a lot of different ownership structures and different business models, but we recently relaunched the company in August of 2017, so I guess about 8 or 9 months ago now, using a somewhat innovative factory direct model. We've eliminated going through retailers, and it's going really well for us. It's new. We're trying to figure it out every day, and I'm kind of herding the cats, as they say, trying to figure out which way is up. But again, so far so good. We're really excited about things and optimistic about the future.
Well, that's really cool, and it is a very unique and progressive model. And I think that's kind of been a big thing in golf recently. Is kind of like, we talk about millennials all the time, and where I sit with Trone trying to drive rounds and revenue, and we just added the Shark experience to our golf carts. It's got live music and streaming TV and speakers and the whole 9 yards. So it's trying to appeal to that millennial mentality. And when you say retail stores, I couldn't tell you the last time I went to a golf retail store. Like literally, if I want to go to a golf retail store, I go to Amazon or I go to Google and I find it online. So it's a very unique something no other company has done yet. And I almost wonder if other companies follow that suit. And you look at big companies and companies you've even been affiliated with, Callaway and TaylorMade, doing more progressive things online. So how long have you been with the company? Kind of tell us a little bit more about this like such a brand associated with such a name like Ben Hogan.
Long story short, I've been in the golf industry for a very long time. Close to 30 years. Started at Spalding, went to Callaway, was at TaylorMade, True Temper, mostly in marketing and product management roles. And so I've seen, the evolution of the golf industry from the equipment side, from the marketing side, from the demand creation side, now for a better part of 3 decades. And, what we're trying to do now is to take advantage of current market trends and consumer behavior. And I think as people become more and more familiar and comfortable with the internet and buying online and using Amazon, we're in a good position to take advantage of those, the way that people start to interact and continue to buy more and more product online. We seen some interesting statistics recently that in 2017, 10% of the gross national product was bought online. And so we expect that to continue to grow. And as I said, we hope to be, at the forefront of that from a golf OEM side.
That's awesome. That number is actually surprising. And I'll be curious to see what that does in 18 too, because that seems a lot higher than you would expect with the numbers in the amount of retail that is going through the internet. So now Ben Hogan is obviously synonymous with some of the greatest names to ever play the game. His role in the company today, how is it? Do you know how involved he was when this company got started? Kind of what's the history of him and his role in the foundation of this company?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to me. It's fascinating to think that he founded the company in 1953, the same year that he won 3 majors. I don't know how you play that competitively and then start your own company, but he did so really successfully. I've done a lot of research and actually worked on the Ben Hogan brand when it was owned by Spalding, part of the Callaway company, long time ago. And we studied a lot about his Mr. Hogan's involvement with the company and his principles of manufacturing, and we still live by a lot of those today. He was very meticulous, as you might imagine, in business as he was on the golf course, and it's important for us to continue to live up to his high standards. I mean, every day we think about the fact that we're putting product out with his signature on it. It's not my signature. It's not, somebody in the office next to mine. So we're really cautious and careful about making sure that we live up to his standards. Interestingly, we have a couple of guys, or maybe three people for that matter, that still work with the company that worked with Mr. Hogan back in the 50s and 60s. And so we rely on them every day. They keep us in line, and on occasion they'll tell us, "Yeah, this is great. Mr. Hogan would really approve of this," especially when it comes to product. What I get more concerned about is when they give me a glare or a look and says, "I'm not sure Mr. Hogan would approve of this," and that's those sorts of comments are the ones that I take really seriously.
That's really cool, and that was one of the things that I was curious if anybody with the company was there when Mr. Hogan was there. So that's just got to be a really, really cool thing to be able to have that much history in the brand. I mean, the longevity of the brand. It doesn't sound like it's a long time, but it really is, especially in this space. I mean, you see so many companies come and go in the golf manufacturing space, and that's cool that it's been around for so long. And like you said, the relaunch of this brand and that factory direct sales model is a big part of that. So tell us a little bit more about that, what that means to a consumer, somebody that's sitting at home watching this show right now. What does that mean, factory direct? Can they go to Dick's Sporting Goods and hit these clubs, or do they have to do it online? What's the fitting process look like if they want to get fit? Kind of what's the buying cycle like for a factory direct sales model?
Yeah, it's straightforward, but it's also a little bit complicated. It's going to take people a little bit of time to get used to it. I mean, to kind of cut to the chase, the way that this works is a consumer goes to benhogangolf.com, reviews our product pages and our videos, and ultimately that's the way to purchase. That's the only way to purchase Ben Hogan clubs or accessories at this point. The fitting process, we don't have a fitting protocol per se. We urge people to go out and visit their local PGA professional or go to a Golf Tech or Club Champion and get a fitting. They'll send in their specifications, and we'll handcraft, custom build a set to those specifications. So, it's again a little bit different than most people are used to, and how it's been in recent history. But we've incorporated some things to try to make it more simple and straightforward for people. We have a demo program. Send us $20 and we'll send you some clubs to try at your leisure, on your home course, or at your range. And we always offer, free customization on clubs. So no matter what your specifications are, we're never going to be charge an upcharge for length and lie and loft adjustments. We charge the same price for graphite and steel. I mean, the big advantage to all of this is that we don't have any retail markup. So, a set of forged irons that, we compare quite often to a lot of higher end product from a Callaway or a TaylorMade or a Ping for that matter. At retail, those would cost $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a set. Ours are more in the $700 range, $750 range. So you're saving, 50%. You're saving a significant amount of money by buying direct from the factory.
That's awesome, because I've been through that process in the past, and it can get, especially with PXG just coming out and their high price tag that they've got. And I've hit the clubs and they're good, but I'm not sure that I'm even in the market. I'm not in the market to pay $800 for a driver. So that's good to know that they're a little bit more affordable. And the model is unique, but it's the way that we're shifting as consumers. Now, you talk about not being able to go hit the clubs. What about demo days? Is there ever going to be a day that I show up to a local golf course and they're doing a Ben Hogan demo day, or is that just something that's not currently in the cards for this model?
No, that's something that might be in the future. As I said, we have a demo program right now where we'll send clubs out to you and you try them, again, at your leisure when you have time. And we understand that that's not ideal in some situations, especially in the northern climates where they don't really have, a lot of people don't have a chance to play golf for for half the year. But, we're figuring all this out on the fly. As I said, we're really a 65-year-old startup company. We've been back in business for all of 8 months. So, we're taking baby steps here. We're trying to do a few things really well as opposed to a million things, kind of poorly. And at some point down the road, we'll make our demo program and be involved in demo days, in a much more significant way.
So what happens if someone buys a set of clubs, they get them and they don't like them? Do you have a return policy, or do you have a policy to make it right for that consumer?
We don't have well, let me answer it this way. We do have a return policy. If you take them out of the box and you just don't like the way they look or they weren't what you expected, we'll take them back. That's not a problem. Our big challenge is, as a small company, we can't have people go out, play the product, test drive them per se for a month and then turn them back in once they're used, because they're of no value to us, quite honestly, other than the fact that we can donate them to the first tee. So we do have a return policy, and that we'll gladly accept anything that hasn't been hit. But we'll also go out of our way. We'll work with you if you find that the loft or the lie isn't quite what you expected, or you need them lengthened or shortened. We're glad to do that at no charge. Just send it back to us, and we'll continue to work on the custom fitting elements. That's not a problem at all.
I think you might be looking into the future a little bit, because next week's guest on this show is a gentleman named Derek Clemenson, who's from the First Tee. So very nice segue for that. Where are these clubs designed and manufactured? Are they here in the U.S. or are they done outside of the continental United States?
Everything's done here in the U.S. with the exception of manufacturing. We do buy components from the Far East. There's really, quite honestly, no place left in the United States to buy heads or grips, for that matter. We do buy shafts from True Temper that does a lot of domestic manufacturing, but we're committed to U.S. manufacturing. I mean, we're in Fort Worth, Texas. We have a factory of craftsmen and craftswomen that put together clubs all day, every day, one set at a time, one stick at a time. And all the R&D is also done domestically. We've outsourced a lot of it. We don't have a big R&D team internally, so we go to people who specialize in certain areas. We'll go to a wedge guy, we'll go to an iron guy, we'll go to a driver and putter guy when the time is right there. So we really try to find the best resources in every element of the company, whether it's R&D or marketing or manufacturing. We've got really a fantastic team. We're small, but really some of the best people in the industry.
Now, you talked about marketing. I'm the director of marketing at Tiburon Golf Club here in Naples. You've been in marketing over the years at a wide variety of companies. So what's been thus far in the revitalization of this company? What's been the most successful in terms of marketing? Is it email marketing? Is it print advertising? Is it social media? Kind of what have been the key factors when it comes to marketing in this new concept?
Yeah, we don't have a huge marketing budget. We try to keep our costs low so that we can pass that savings onto the consumer. We do a lot of digital marketing and social media marketing, again, at the end of the day, to drive people to our website to learn about learn what we're about and learn more about our products. I'll tell you though, one thing we've done that has raised some eyebrows, but I think has been really effective for us, is that we run some advertising, not a lot, on the Golf Channel. And, it's hard to attach an ROI to that, but I think more than anything else, it's really helped us get the word out that the Ben Hogan brand is back in business, and we're doing things a little bit differently than we've done in the past. So anecdotally, I hear from a lot of people that, hey, I saw your spot on the Golf Channel, and I think that kind of broad-based air cover has been really helpful to us.
Well, hopefully, whoever is managing the social media for the company, please introduce them to the Google Plus Golf community. It's a small blip in the radar of the grand scheme, but there's just under 27,000 active members there, and that could be another place that you could help. And hopefully this episode as well, helping introduce this new concept and reintroduce the brand of Ben Hogan Golf to the golf community. So hopefully that get you guys in and active there.
That'd be great.
Another way that you're doing that is with brand ambassadors. So you've got a couple of tour players that are brand ambassadors, a couple of social media influencers. I actually just returned from a trip to Bermuda where I was taken to play in a golf tournament as a social media influencer, and there were a couple of folks there, trick shot artists and so forth. Yep. Who are some of the tour players you're working with, and what are you doing with these social ambassadors and these influencers?
Yeah, we have on the professional level, we have relationships with JJ Henry and Mark Brooks. Conveniently, those are guys that both have a long history with the Ben Hogan brand, and they're also right in Fort Worth in our backyard. So they are involved in the company in a lot of different ways, not just as paid players, but they provide a lot of strategic direction to us. Both Mark and JJ are at the office, or more accurately, out in the factory a lot, tweaking clubs and working with us. But they help us in new product development and design, and JJ especially is really involved in social media. He's constantly tweeting and sending messages out on Instagram about places he's playing and the interest that he's getting from other tour players and the Ben Hogan bag and the irons he's playing. So that's been great. And then we've sort of adopted that philosophy of having other influencers, other people in the golf industry help us promote the brand. We have, I believe, 6 people on staff right now that are, really involved, have a history with the Ben Hogan brand, want to see us succeed. And quite honestly, we haven't had one person who said that they don't want us to succeed. So it's great to have that kind of wind in your sails. But those guys will send out information about their playing, where they're playing, what kind of shots they're hitting, what their experiences are with the new products. And they have a much broader reach than we would have as a company alone. So it's an experiment for sure, but it's really going well. Our marketing director is a guy by the name of Tyler Bruton, and he sort of pushed hard for this program. And at first, I was not completely convinced that it was going to be the right thing to do, but it's really worked out extremely well for us.
That's really cool. So how does somebody become a ambassador for this brand?
It's really simple. There's a vetting process for sure, but there's an application on our website under the brand ambassadors tab, and you fill the application out. Tyler Bruton kind of goes through it, talks to me about certain individuals that he's really interested in and think fit the Hogan profile, and we go from there. We're probably not going to have huge numbers of ambassadors. As I said, with everything we're doing, we're kind of taking baby steps and working very methodically. But 6 is a starting number. We'll probably end up with 10, 12, 15 by over the next few months. So again, it's one of these things that's really, really worked well for us.
That's really cool. I might have to fill out that application. They can become the official of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play.
I'll take a look at your application.
So the PGA Merchandise Show in Orlando is like the mecca for golf brands, whether it be a Callaway or a Titleist, all the way to a guy that's made a little trinket that nobody's ever going to use. And it's like the biggest thing for golf, right, in January. Was Ben Hogan Golf at the PGA Show this year? Have you been to the show in the past? Kind of what's your thought process on the show itself and being involved with that show as such a brand that's revitalizing and reintroducing themselves?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've been at the show at least 25 times. I think it's north of that now, including some of the old West Coast and Las Vegas shows. But yeah, you're right. It is the end all be all when it comes to golf equipment and golf apparel. Everything golf kind of revolves around that show in late January. We did not display at the show this year nor the year before. Really because of cost, but really more importantly, with our new factory direct model. We don't sell to retailers, and really that's a buying show, or meant to be a buying show. And it's not a consumer show. If it were a consumer show, certainly it would make sense for us to be there. But because we're sort of skipping that step in the buying cycle, it doesn't. We don't necessarily have to be there. But I did go this year just to check out the competition, see what was going on in the industry. It's always good way to keep tabs on what's happening.
I feel like the show gets bigger every year, and I drive, which is where everything happens. Like that's the place to be, right? I mean,
absolutely,
it's an awesome spot. So now the first 9 questions was all about the brand and all about the business side. So I didn't tell you this was going to fly by, but we're already halfway through. But the back 9 is a little bit more fun, a little more golf related, more focused on you. So are you ready for your back 9?
I'm absolutely ready.
Boom. So how many people work for the company? You said it was small. Is it like 8 or is it like 58?
We have, should be a simple answer. It's really not. We have 6 full-time employees, including myself, and probably another 20 or so contract employees. As I said, we sort of farm out a lot of different work to keep our costs low. So between R&D, accounting, marketing, a lot of different business operations, we've got people on staff, but they're not full-time employees. So, we're about 25 people is how I look at it.
That is crazy small. Like, that is not at all what I thought you were going to say. That is bananas.
Yeah,
now, the
go
Masters.
ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. The Masters was just a couple of weeks ago. Whether you're happy with how that ended or not, what is your favorite PGA Tour major? Maybe it is the Masters.
It really is. I love the Masters. I've had the opportunity to go to a few of the events over the years. I think there's just something extraordinarily special about Augusta, about the golf course, about the pageantry. Certainly now Mr. Hogan's history there. So I always get really revved up for the Masters, and I thought this year's event had a ton of drama, and I enjoyed the ending. I thought it would be a little bit more competitive at the end, but Patrick Reed just sort of kept his foot on the gas pedal and ran away with it a little bit at the end there. But it was fun to watch.
Well, I'm Tiger's biggest fan, and he didn't perform as well as I thought he would. He made the cut, so at least he played the weekend. And I think, not that I enjoyed watching Jordan Spieth hit that tree on 18T, but that was not what I expected to see him in the way he did. I thought he might just pull out and shoot the course record and force a playoff. But, hey, that's the drama that happens on Masters Sunday.
I can't imagine the pressure these guys are under, and I can't imagine the pressure that was on Tiger. I know he usually rises to the occasion, but yeah, it was an interesting ending, and I thought Tiger to me is back on track. I thoroughly expect to see him win again, and I do thoroughly expect him to win at least another major. So it's good for golf, and it's good for one of the greatest sports people in our generation.
I like that thought process, and a couple of questions. We're going to come back to Tiger. Now, be honest, how far do you hit your driver?
Let's see. I guess about 260, I would say. I'm a decent stick, I guess. My long irons and driver fairway woods are really probably the strength of my game. Not a great short game player, but I hit it, 250 to 260.
Very good. Now, you're from New England originally. Does the street, Lansdowne Street, mean anything to you?
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
That's awesome. Now, there's a bar here in Bonita Springs, Florida called Lansdowne Street. And when you walk in, the back wall is the Green Monster, and there's just Boston Red Sox stuff everywhere. So I can appreciate somebody that knows what Lansdowne Street actually is. So
my dog Fenway is sitting here at my feet.
That is awesome. My dog.
I'm a pretty hardcore Sox fan.
That's cool. So for everyone, I've other golf in this fan. So what golf ball do you play? Hogan, I don't think you guys are making a golf ball. What golf in your bag?
You know what, Ricky? I'm sorry I'm having difficulty hearing you again. I think you had asked me about my golf ball, and if that's true, what I'm playing right now is probably whatever I've gotten handed recently by somebody. I'm not really particular about golf ball, other than the fact it has to be a pretty good quality one. I've played Pro V1 a lot recently, Bridgestone, and quite honestly, I've tried the Snell golf balls. And I find them to be as good, if not better, than anything else on the marketplace. Steen is really doing a great job with this product there.
They have been very popular, and I need to get them on the show, actually. So Scott from Eat Sleep Golf, Scott from Eat Sleep Golf, let's get Snell on the show sometime later this season. That would be a good conversation. So now, he passed away before you started working with the company. Did you ever get the chance over the years to meet Mr. Hogan?
I did not. Mr. Hogan had passed away just before the Spalding company, Spalding Sports, bought the Ben Hogan brand. I did meet Mrs. Hogan, Valerie, a couple times, and also had the experience of meeting Marty Leonard and some of the other folks in Fort Worth that had a long history with Mr. Hogan. And as I said, we still have a number of people that, work at the company that had a lot of experience with Mr. Hogan, although I would have loved to have met him. But I think I have a good sense of what he was about. And again, we're really careful almost, every day in maintaining his legacy.
So I'm a craft beer snob. Normally I have a glass of red wine, but I'm drinking an IPA right now. There are a lot of craft breweries out there, especially in your part of the world. Are you a beer drinker? And if so, what's your favorite local craft brewery?
I'm a pretty casual beer drinker. I'm much more of a wine guy myself. There are some great local beers out here, though. I spend not a lot of time, but I've spent time at St. Archer's here in San Diego. It's great, really, really good beer. They've got a wide variety. So I guess that's my my go-to beer out here.
Now, we talked about Tiger a little bit. We're going to talk about him again real quick. He's all around us, by the way. I'm Tiger's biggest fan. I mean, he stares at me. He's on my desktop. He's all over. I drive a red and black car because he wears red on Sunday, and I'm not making that up. So be careful how you answer this. But
Okay.
Do you think Tiger breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
I don't think he breaks Jack's record. I do think he wins a major again. I just think it's he lost a lot of good years there with his injuries, and I think if he were a couple of majors closer, he might have had a better chance. But I think Father Time is catching up with him rapidly. I think he's probably got a couple good years left, but I can't imagine him winning, more than one or two more. I was really interested. I realized this past weekend watching Phil Mickelson, who's my Tiger. I really have known Phil for a long time. I used to work with him, when he first came out of college on the Atonic business, and he's been very, very kind to me over the years. And I didn't realize that Phil was, 46 or maybe even 47 now.
47. It's crazy.
Yeah. And, he's still a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong. I chose him in my master's pool and, would love to see him, win another green jacket. But you realize, hey, when you get to be that age, it's tough, especially you got, some great young players coming out. They're ripped and toned. They're hitting the ball, 320 yards or more off the tee. I just think it's going to be really hard for Tiger to return to form and win and catch up to Jack. I think he'll be second place, and that's not a bad place to be.
Well, especially behind Jack. So I don't love that answer because I want him to win. I want him to break the record by like 5, but I'll respect that answer.
Okay.
Right? So we'll deal with that. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been awesome to learn more about the company and learn more about the revitalization of this brand. And I'm excited to see more about this sales model. It's definitely something that shouldn't be considered progressive, but it's going to be because of the fact that nobody else is doing it. And it's just a matter of time before other brands start to do it. So thank you for coming on to talk about it. It's been awesome getting to learn more about you and more about the brand. But the final question of your hashtag Wednesday Match Play presented by Eat Sleep Golf is, what's next? You guys are just kind of getting restarted here, but what's the next, few 5, 6, 10 months look like for you guys?
Well, as I said, we're really optimistic. The first 5, 6, 10 months has been great, and we're counting on that continuing through 2018. We've got a bunch of new products in development. We just launched new irons and wedges in the past 3 or 4 weeks. So we're keeping our foot to the pedal, and we're never going to be the biggest guys. That's not our intention. But we do think that we're a very viable choice for alternative for, serious players that want forged equipment, great performing equipment, but now at a fantastic value. So we think there's a good niche for us. And, I'm, as I've said, at least once, maybe twice before, we're really optimistic about where things are going to be for the Ben Hogan Company for the rest of this year and into 2019.
Well, that is awesome. I'm excited to watch that happen, and I look forward to learning more. You might see an application come through to see if I can maybe become one of your ambassadors to help raise awareness about this brand. I hope this episode helps raise awareness about the brand and what your involvement is with this company. This episode is going to live on YouTube, so everybody that's watching, make sure you leave your comments on this new sales model below because I'm curious to hear what everybody else thinks because, like I said, it's a progressive sales model, but it's not something that I think will be progressive for long because I think this is going to be something to inspire other companies to kind of go this model. It makes it more affordable for the consumer, therefore potentially selling more product. and it makes it easier for the consumer to be able to buy something versus driving to the store and getting fit and hitting irons and the whole 9 yards. So excited to learn more about that. This episode's also going to be on iTunes and Google Play via podcast, so make sure you check it out there. Hit the subscribe button down below. This way, every time a new episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play is released every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., you get a notification so you don't miss an episode. Next week, we got the first tee of Naples, Collier County coming on, so it was a good segue there from Mr. White. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It has been fantastic to learn more about this company. A tip of the cap to Mr. Ben Hogan for what he had created many years ago, like you said, in a season where he was, winning 3 major championships. As always, on the Hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.